very simple little exercise or little trick we can do to dip our toes into the world of solo guitar playing or solo jazz guitar playing. Solo guitar playing is where we cover the chords, bass lines and melodies all ourselves, not necessarily at the same time. There are some fantastic players in this sort of genre. Martin Taylor is an extremely good player who's still operating today, based in Scotland. Joe Pass is a great jazz player, unfortunately no longer with us. People like Tuck Andrus, Jody Fisher, Tim Lurch. But my all-time favourite in this style, my all-time favourite player in general is Ted Green, Green with an E. Give him a search on YouTube if you've not heard of him. He genuinely changed my guitar playing life when I first heard him. My whole sort of perspective on everything changed. He was a tremendous guitar player and just a wonderful human being. So let me show you what we can do with this. So we're basically playing a dominant 7th chord with a walking bass. This is a really fun shape to play. It's a really sparse shape. So let me show it you. I'm going to play this in the key of A. This is a 12-bar blues. I'm using my first finger on the 5th fret of the E string to make an A note. And then middle finger is playing 5th fret of the D string, which is our G note, and then our little finger is doing a 6th fret on the G string, which is a C sharp note. So we've got 5th fret E string, skip over the A, 5th fret D string, 6th fret G string, and I'm going to pluck this with my right hand with my thumb, first finger, and middle finger. All we do is squeeze this chord, and then we're going to shift the chord down, but we're only going to play the lowest note. And this stops us having to reform the chord each time. So just keep your hand in this static position, but don't worry about pressing these two down. So we squeeze the chord, move down a tone, which is 2 frets. Just pluck that note. Move down a fret, 1 semitone, pluck that note. And then 2 more semitones, 2 more frets, which is going to take us to the open string. So we're going to go. And that's basically what's going on in 1 bar. And if I put this little diagram up so you can see it, hopefully that's not too bright. Perhaps it is. I can always overlay this on the screen. We've got A7 4 times, D7 twice, A7 twice, E7, D7, A7 and E7. That's the order. Each time we see a chord in front of us, one of these chords, we play that riff that we've just done, this thing here, on that appropriate chord. So this is what we do for A. We do the exact same thing for D, but it would start on the 10th fret because that's where our D7 would live. This is our D note. So for D we would play, and for E we would play this. So each one of those chords, each one of those cymbals, we play this little riff, and that's 4 beats basically that we're playing there. One thing we are going to do is change, so what I showed you before was the 12-bar blues, and we're going to change that slightly by doing this. Again, this is probably too bright, but we're going to do the D7 in the 2nd chord rather than the A7. So this is what we are actually playing, and this is what we were playing before. You can just about see the difference. So that 2nd bar, instead of hanging around on the A 4 times before changing to this 2nd line, we're going to go A, D, A before changing. It just makes it a little bit interesting, and there's a few variations we can do in the blues with this, but I won't go into those now. One more thing we can do on the 4th beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead of doing that last note, the lowest note on the 4th beat, whatever it might be, 2, 3, 4, we can play the chord that we're about to play a semitone lower or a semitone above. So let's take this for example. I'll do it from the first 2 chords. So we're going to go A7. I'm going to play it on A, and then I'm going to play it on D. So let me just do it straight first. Sounds fine as it is, but what we're going to do on that 4th beat of the A, instead of playing the open E, we're going to play our target chord, which is a D7, either 1 fret below it or 1 fret above it, and that will sound like this. I'll do 1 fret below it first. I'll do it one more time, but 1 fret above. And you can hear how that creates this really cool sidestepping sound. It's like almost like a passing tone or a passing chord, we might call it. And that's a super simple way to get this jazzy sound, and we can do that for any one of these chords, in between any two chords, even if they're exactly the same. If we're going from A, let's say we've got two A's in a row, we could go like that. You can hear as well, sometimes when I'm playing, instead of just doing one stab, I'm doing two. That's sort of involuntary. I'm trying not to overcomplicate things. But that's it. All we do is move this little pattern around based on the diagram that I showed you before, or I'll put on screen if it's maybe a bit too bright. Let me play it for you one more time and we'll call it a day there for today. So here we go. There we go. So check out some of the players I mentioned at the start of the video if you're interested in this style. I'm not an expert on it. I aspire to be one day, but they're your best bet if you want to see this kind of playing, chords, bass, and melody all together, sounding pretty good. I hope that's been useful, and I'll see you soon.